you went home, even though you have all these advantages that made you go home and you proved yourself right. Tell me the challenges after having a taste of the West and you went home. Were there any challenges when you got back home? Tell me something I don't know.
Uh well, it's I'm not really sure if it's something you don't know.
Uh huh.
Maybe a lot of
Uh huh.
people have thought about it. Uh, but Well, I'm just going to take like an example of business opportunities we have. I was talking about, for example, a city like Kinshasa being 12 million people. At some point, I think by 2021, it was like 17 million people, right? So
12
uh,
million. And Kinshasa.
17
Kinshasa is the
million,
capital.
Kinshasa. Yeah,
Is
that's
the
the
capital
capital
of
of DRC on the other side, right?
DRC.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
So by 2021, it was 17 million people. So when you think about it, right? Um, let's say you have talking about business opportunities.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You have a product, okay,
Yes.
and you capture, let's say, only 1% of the 17
17
million
million.
people, okay. That's about 170,000 people, right? And you have a product, a
Yes.
very simple product like peanuts or something,
Yes. Whatever. Yeah.
or whatever. And then considering the fact that people probably live with somewhere around $1 or less a day, right? People live with $1 per day approximately in that area. But let's say we decide to capture like 1% of that. So our
Yes.
product costs like 1 cent.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So out of the 170,000 people, we get $1,700 a day. Okay. And let's say your cost or whatever operating
Yes.
cost,
Yes.
and you let's say it's about 80%.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So out of the 1,700, about $1,380 will go
Go on to yeah.
towards that, and then you stay with about $340 if you want to
Daily.
net it out. Okay.
Daily.
So that's I know it's easy to say, harder done, but that's just an example of the opportunities that we have here. For a product that's going to cost 1 cent, if you have a big market, then there is opportunity. $340 a day for yourself in a country where people live with less than a dollar a day. I think it's opportunity. Maybe I've extrapolated with my
No, 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 no,
example,
no.
but just
Mama,
that's just a general picture. You see what I'm
let me
saying?
let me
So
stop you there. Let me stop you there
yeah,
from saying maybe you. No, you actually you are very very conservative with because I tried to write the numbers as you talked right. If
yeah, yeah.
you live or if you live in Kinshasa right now, where you're talking about 17 million humans,
People, yeah,
and you come up with a product. This is your breakdown. You come up with a product where forget everybody else. You're just targeting 1%. How
1%.
conservative is that? You're targeting 1% of 17 million people,
Yeah,
and
that's
then from that one
170,000 people. Yeah,
170,000 people. Now, from that 170,000 people daily in that product that you come up with, you're smart enough to think about well enough to know, especially if it's a consumable, it's a repeat, if it's repeat
yeah,
customers.
yeah.
And if you have 170 people buying it, now you're not talking about for $1. You think about a product that is 1 cent. How conservative is that? 1 cent repeat
Yeah,
customers to get about
100.
1700.
Yeah,
So
yeah. When
so
you reach the 17,000 people, what you get
yes,
daily is $1,700. Yes,
$1,700. Now
yes.
from that $1,700, you're looking at that picture conservatively. You're looking at that picture like 80% of whatever is coming in, you've spent in producing and paying your
Let's go with
operation.
90% to be
Even
more
90%,
conservative.
yes,
Yes. So
even 90% of it is all going to paying whatever you need to pay to have that product out there. And then you end up with, now, okay, now you're cutting that
170
three foot,
$170 a day,
$170
dollars a
daily,
day. Yeah,
$170 a day in Africa.
that's a lot.
Man, once you scale those numbers, or once the blessings of business hit you, and that becomes something you multiply
Yeah,
in any
and,
sort of way.
yeah, and I think $170 a day in the US, a lot of people are not getting that.
Oh,
You
you
know,
kidding me?
so
Of course, of course.
it's a lot. It's a lot. You know, it's a
I
lot.
see what you did there. I see what you did there. I
So
think
my
what you're
point,
trying. Yes,
sorry, Mike.
yes.
My
Go for
point
it.
was
Yes,
just that
yes.
it's a land of opportunities. You know,
Potential,
yeah, potential. Yeah,
potential. The fact that
yeah,
it's there. I see what
yeah,
you did there. And funnily enough, as we were talking about that, I was thinking about a video that I watched. Jack Ma, the Alibaba guy.
yeah. Jack Ma.
They came up with a business concept, or that Rwanda already embraced, where they're having local people in Africa, in this case in Rwanda, tapping into a market that is outside of Rwanda, right?
Hmm.
Using technology, using just their phones, right?
Yeah.
So you think about, so here you're talking about that potential in Africa, but can you think about like business people in Africa not only reaching their people locally but also outside when we expose ourselves to these technologies that are present, right? So when you're talking about that, that was what I was thinking about. I actually have a video on StemToRoots where I have Jack Ma. Once
Hmm.
people search it, they will see what that technology is.
Hmm.
But talking about that, talking about technology, right? I first want to say, if anybody sees part two of our conversation slightly different, because you're in a different shirt.
You too.
Yeah, yeah. Like I'm slightly different. I think I wore my uniform, but things change since. It's because we recorded the whole of part one, and as the second half of our conversation got affected by technology, because we realized that it didn't upload fast enough for
Yeah.
me to capture it before we lost it. And that made me think, if this is my first recording with somebody in Africa, your status, you're doing well, you have a big job like we talked about, you have internet connectivity, that's why we're able to have this conversation. The masses depend on their phone for connecting to the world, and stuff. I had a conversation here with somebody called Sharif. It's also an episode that we have. Sharif from Nigeria, who talked about how we are lacking as far as our technologically, as far as our connectivity goes, to kind of to match that standard of where the world is at right now, and speeding that up slightly to even come close. Talk about potential.
Hmm.
Africa has so much to give,
Yeah.
from how young we are to our population, to just everything that we have around us. What's your assessment of that?
Yeah, I think I agree with that.
Mm,
At the level where technology is at right now in this
mhm,
world,
mhm,
um, there are steps in the progress of a city, or in the progress
mhm.
of a
Right.
a people as a set of
Mhm,
humans that we
mhm.
don't have to go through. Remember when we were talking about Boston at some point being a city that was probably
Infrastructure.
looking, yeah. So I think there are steps right now that we don't have
Mhm,
to go through. Steps
mhm,
that these big cities went through. We because
mhm,
we have the
mhm.
technology, so we can really quickly develop. And when you talked about the Jack Ma product
Yeah, yeah.
or software, I'm
Technology.
interested
Yes.
in that.
Yes.
Because on the side, what I do too is I have some land where I'm trying to have well, I have avocado trees. It's a lot of avocado trees, and actually
Wow.
my target is Kinshasa, because I've been to Kinshasa and I noticed that a piece of avocado is about 3 to 4 times more expensive over there. Okay, so I'm doing this avocado plantation with a target, my target being Kinshasa, you
That
know.
market.
So yeah, so that's the market I'm targeting. So maybe the technology you're talking about, when we finish here, you will tell me some more about that,
Yes,
you know.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and here you are in Africa. You already targeting a city in Africa. In your case, across the Congo River, right there.
Yes.
And if that is something between the two countries, I don't know the trade or business relationship between the two. If there's no wall there, literally, like issues that you have to go through. That's
Mhm.
that market right there. You're talking about that level of population right there across a river, right?
Exactly.
And if you can reach them, you're a business person. If you're looking at an avocado that costs a dollar or two more just across the river, why not, right?
Yeah, why not? Yeah.
Why not?
Exactly. Exactly. Exactly.
Talk about Congo, the other side, and yours, the Republic of Congo, yours, and Democratic Republic of Congo, just across the
Mm.
river from you, and just resources, right? And as you were talking about that, I was thinking about how we have all the resources right there, just your oil and gas. You guys have, right? What else do you have? You guys have gold. You
Yeah.
have all these natural resources, but Democratic Republic of Congo, lately I've been, actually, there was a video I was watching. I'm looking at the amount of cobalt. Like they said, 70% of the world's cobalt they supply. If
Yeah.
anybody is interested in the importance of cobalt to our world, if they don't know, they should go research it.
Mhm.
Our entire world almost depends on it right now. Everybody that's talking about green, like electric vehicle batteries, everybody that's talking about their fancy iPhones, like they have something that powerful. Now let's talk about the entire Africa, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
In West Africa alone, can you imagine a world where, like, Ivory Coast and Ghana, the biggest suppliers of cocoa, you know,
Mhm.
if
Mhm.
if instead of them, planting it, having farmers, farm cocoa and send it away, can you imagine them having the industry to be the ones actually selling the chocolate? Right? Can you
Mhm.
imagine,
Mhm. Yeah.
Belgium, Switzerland, and Denmark buying chocolate instead of cocoa from them? Can you imagine, your side of the world, in the Congos, having industries to produce these things instead of just sending raw material? It comes
Yeah.
back and we,
Yeah.
we buy 50 times more. Can you imagine an Africa like that?
Yeah. Yeah. It's very tough. It's what you're talking about is an old problem that
Hmm. Hmm.
our
Hmm.
fathers, forefathers, they
Our fathers'
identified
fathers.
this. Yeah, they identified this problem, but
Hmm.
up to now it's not being resolved. In contracts, like in oil and gas contracts, you have what they call local content. So
Mm.
let's say when a major company, oil and gas company, takes up a permit,
Hmm.
exploitation permit for oil and gas,
Hmm.
in the
Hmm.
contract they have with the state, there's something that's called local content, which
Hmm.
stipulates that in the contract to exploit and explore
Hmm.
the piece of land for oil and gas,
Hmm. Hmm.
first they have a certain percentage of the staff that have to be local. Okay,
Okay.
that's first. And second, that article in the contracts stipulates that by the time the contract is done, which is
Yes.
sometimes 15 years, 25 years,
Yes. Yes.
the local, they have to make sure the local people are able to run the facility
Yes.
after the major leaves.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And in many oil and gas companies in Africa, that's not happening. You know, when the permit extinguishes, the major wants it again, and they will give it to him.
Yes.
Or
Keep extending it. Yeah.
if the major does not want it for some reason, mainly
Yes.
because they probably identified that there's no more oil in that well,
Yes.
They will leave it to the local people, but the local people are not able to exploit it.
They find no use for it anymore.
Yeah, because they don't have the competence to do it. That knowledge was not well
Yes.
transferred. you
Yes.
know
Yes. Yes, sir. Yes.
well, now this is not the case for every country. It's
Right. Right.
some African countries are doing well with that local content. Like countries like Nigeria is doing very well,
For the
with the
oil and
local,
gas sector.
for the oil and gas sector. Algeria is doing very, very well with that. They're pretty independent with the oil and gas industry. But countries like Congo, Brazzaville are slightly behind. Angola is slightly behind too. But talking about what you said
Yes.
about cocoa in Ivory
Yes.
Coast, it's
Yes.
it's it's a little bit the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Mm-hmm.
um,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if it's an issue with the way the contracts they have
Uh-huh.
with the people who buy the cocoa.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Also, our leaders, at some point also have the responsibility to make sure that what they know and what's in the contract is applied, because all of them know that as soon as we start transforming the raw
Mm-hmm.
material ourselves,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
every step of that transformation is adding value to whatever we have to sell.
Mm-hmm.
They all know
Mm-hmm.
that. They're big economists leading us. They all know that. But
Mm-hmm.
somehow executing this thing that they know
Yes.
is pretty tough. And Mike, I have to admit, I'm not sure why. Maybe I need to get into politics to understand why they're not able to do it. Uh, and I have the same questions
Yes.
as our brother,
Mm-hmm.
the Burkina president. I
Yes.
have
Yes. Yes.
the same questions. You you you
Yes.
you you,
I've been
you yeah.
following that. I've been
You've been
following that.
following that, so
Yes. Yes.
you know what his questions were. So
Yes. Yes.
yeah, we have those questions, and like I said, maybe we need to get into politics to understand what's going on.
And talk about politics. It's as if a lot of our problems as Africans right now, a lot of our problems are tied directly to our leaders. Even though, admittedly, we know the existence of what the past has done to us up to this level, we know it, right?
Yeah,
We
yeah.
know, the post-colonialist. We can't pretend, that we are fully independent. We can't even pretend. Talk about our little bro, the president of
Hey,
Burkina,
I
our
didn't
little
want to
bro.
say
Can you
little
imagine?
man.
That's our little brother. He's a president. Not bad. Okay, maybe you were aging ourselves, but can you imagine? The fact that our leaders have this responsibility that we feel like they still owe us, and we kind of like taper down the blame of colonization. We know it's there, but what have we done since? Like nations that have
Yeah,
had that have had independence for now 50 years, 55, 60
60.
years. Like
Yes.
how long? How long if you're heading to a century of quote unquote independence where now you actually have a stake in what's going on. Like how long can we blame our that takes me to this, right? Politics, how our countries are, the things that are going on in our nations now that is affecting people that are leaving, like that leave the country, go study outside, right? You talked about how Congo, your country, a lot of people will go to France to study, and then at the end of their studies, unlike you, because you are the 1%er, we stay because the West has a lot more to offer, right? A lot more to offer as far as opportunities. And then I looked at lately. I was doing some research and I found out I have that video in StemToRoots where they were talking about the brain drain not only being Africans that leave to go study and then stay, but Africans that stay home study in our institutions, high level education, at the end of that, whether they become a doctor, they become professors and stuff, but they end up leaving after studying at home. They end up leaving to go work in the West. Are they to be blamed for that?
I just spoke about opportunities in Africa,
Yes,
but I believe there are opportunities everywhere in the world. You know,
true.
there's no, I don't believe there's a better place than the other. It's just wherever you feel comfortable, you stay there. People should have the right to live wherever they want. But you see, Africa has its own problems too. Nepotism. People sometimes opportunities come easier when you are from a certain ethnic group. We have
Yes,
our own
yes, yes,
problems too.
yes.
Um, but they can go if they feel like the opportunity is there in Europe, because
Yes, it's elsewhere.
remember, Europe's population is aging.
Oh yeah,
Europe's
true.
population is aging. You have a lot of older people, less young people, so they are ready to welcome other
Yeah.
people from Africa, like
Yes.
doctors. A lot of
Yes.
doctors in Africa are going there now. If the opportunities is not smiling at you where you are,
Mm-hmm.
yes, you can go. So brain drain is not
Mm-hmm.
something I would blame, because I believe that there is enough people there are enough
Mm-hmm.
people that stay
Mm-hmm.
to so that Africa can thrive. Enough people stay. So I don't think that's a problem. Yeah,
I,
I
I,
don't
I
think
like how
that's
you're
enough
putting
enough
that.
people
See,
stay.
I like how you're putting that. You're not seeing the brain drain when it comes to individuals as a problem big enough or to be prioritized as far as Africa's problems, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
Yeah.
So even though people are seeking certain expertise, to come from the outside, or people staying to actually, help, solve these local problems. You're saying there are enough people at home that are actually doing the job. I was listening
Yeah.
to the ambassador Arikana. I don't know if you're familiar with her. She's actually now heading that whole Wakanda City project in Ghana. Who was
Mm.
talking about it. She was talking about the number of doctors that are needed in Nigeria, and how many Nigerian doctors are outside. But admittedly, she said, what should be the target, or what should be the goal, even for a country like Nigeria, is not actually how many doctors are outside. If all those doctors come back in, where are they going to work?
Hmm.
What are they going to be doing?
To
Then there'll be
Yeah.
there'll be there'll be more doctors than the infrastructure needed for them to actually be helpful, right? There'll be
Yeah.
a lot of doctors
Yeah.
sitting in their living room, and they can't help because
Exactly.
of equipment. So
Yeah.
there's a certain level of balance there that has to be done. Africa doesn't
Definitely.
even have the
Yeah.
capacity of the number of educated people in their expertise to come back.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. I think
Uh,
it's close to what I was saying.
It's very close.
I think
That's why
there's a
it came in
balance.
mind. That's why it came in mind.
Yeah. I think
Our
there's a
brother,
balance somewhere.
Babs has his brother-in-law, right?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
He's a Harvard graduated neuro neurologist or neuroscientist. I know they'll forgive me
Uh,
if I don't know, but he deals with the brain research,
yeah.
related to cancer and stuff. Somebody like that level of education, right? Right now,
Yeah.
if I was to, and I can't wait to talk to him here, if I was to take him and say, hey, be patriotic, go home, go to Gambia, he will go
No.
there right
No.
now and be a waste, right?
Yeah.
there's no
and be a
lab that
waste.
will
Yeah.
yeah, that he will be useful to the world from there.
Hmm.
There's no certain level of research at home right now where he can fit in and actually, be useful to the world. Somebody like that, you
Hmm.
can't ask him to go home.
Yeah.
And that's the
True.
issue that Sister Arikana was talking about.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you for giving me another perspective in this whole brain drain problem. I didn't think
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Uh, um,
Yeah.
um, uh, uh, Let me ask you, my boy.
Mm.
Here we are. You talked about business, and I was curious to know because again, you're Africa's ambassador for STEM to Roots now. So we're going to ask you all these questions. What's
Yeah,
the
man. Go ahead.
sentiment on the ground as far as about people,
Mm.
the youth, in looking at right, looking at leaving the country, as their measure of success,
Mhm.
versus staying. Like, what is generally, the sentiment around the youth, all these young people that Africa has?
Well, they want to leave. Proof is the what they are calling migrants. Dying in the Mediterranean Sea,
Yes,
and
yes.
yeah.
Especially West Africa is affected.
Yes,
Central and
yes,
West
yes.
Africa,
Oh,
yes.
can you believe? Can you believe Congolese people are dying there too? As far as south that Congo is, they are going by road,
Yes,
by buses all the way Cameroon,
yes,
Nigeria, all
yes.
the way to Morocco, and then they're crossing. Yeah,
Yeah.
we have Congolese young
Wow.
people. Yes, as far south as probably more south than Congo. They're going by road up
Wow,
to
bro.
Morocco
I didn't
with,
know that.
yeah, yeah, with
I
the
didn't know
purpose
that
of crossing. Yeah,
because Gambia, Senegal, Mali, Mauritania, because that west is closer. So a lot of people, back Gambia, they coined it back road, right? Back way,
yeah, yeah,
sorry. So,
yeah,
the problem is they take all their money. Their parents actually aid them in that. They will
yeah.
sell their land because they know somebody that succeeded in getting there. They will
Hmm.
sell their land to finance their trip there, and crossing that Sahara to go towards the Morocco and Libya and all that, just in order to just find a way to get to
Yeah,
that border over there. You
yeah.
know, a lot of them get robbed. A lot of them get yes, because they know
Killed.
you're traveling
They
with
get
cash.
killed.
They
Yeah,
get
yeah.
killed. They don't make it. They get stuck, and there's currently slavery being reported in the Libyas and stuff
Hmm.
of
Hmm.
Afro Black Africans, stuck there trying to work and gather money in order to cross. So they're doing
To
anything for
cross.
a job. I didn't know that was
Yeah.
an issue coming from central and the southern
Yeah,
side.
they're coming from Central Africa too. Now, so these are young people that I think the states, the authorities are not talking enough to them. Okay, I think they're not talking enough to them. Um, Started from primary school. When I say talking, I'm talking about the education
The
from
education
primary
part.
school,
Yes,
uh,
yes.
um, the programs on TV. Back in the days when I was younger, we had in classes, we had classes about morals, classes about patriotism, Pan Africanism. We had
Mm,
classes about
mm,
those, but a while back they stopped those. We can imagine the purposes.
mm.
How leading smart people is tougher, right?
Yeah,
So you kind of
yeah.
get them less knowledgeable, so you can lead them easier. But
Wow,
well,
wow.
but
That's a whole other topic.
yeah, that's a whole other topic that we may not develop too much for security
Yeah.
reasons. But
I need you to be secure.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, these are young people that we don't show them the opportunities that are here.
Mm,
These are young people that we don't talk to them about how people in the West succeeded with the same infrastructure or with the same equipment that you have here. Okay, we did not
mm,
show it to them.
mm, mm, mm,
Uh, you have we have land here. You
Yes.
know,
Plenty of it.
plenty of it. We have people in the U.S. who succeeded in agriculture. How did they do it? You know, so um, we have the same opportunities that people who succeeded, some of the people who succeeded in the
Hmm.
West,
Hmm.
so we can do something similar. So
Yes.
we are not talking enough to these people, to these young
Yes.
people, and
Yes.
they are going for something they don't really know. It's
Yes.
just like an image that they have. Oh, this is how the West is. This is how you live in Europe. It's good life. It's cold. It's can you believe that some of the young people here don't even realize that it gets really hot in Europe or in the
Yeah.
US.
Yeah.
They think
Yeah.
it's cold all the time,
Yeah. Yeah.
so when you talk to them, it's like, oh, it's too hot in Africa.
It's
I'm
too
like,
hot
dude,
here. Oh,
have
come
you
to
lived
Houston.
in in New Orleans? New
Have
Orleans
you
is
lived?
like crazy hot, man. You know, like
Yeah.
I've never
Yeah.
felt that kind of heat.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
anyway, so
Yeah.
they don't really know what they're getting into. um, they don't know what they're leaving behind when
Yeah.
they're going
Yeah.
there. So
Yeah. Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
unfortunately, they just don't know what they're doing.
It's
Yeah,
unfortunate. It's unfortunate because think about Gambia, and talk about education. I know Gambians right now talk about back way and people leaving because of lack of opportunity. I know Gambians right now that have graduated with a bachelor's degree
hmm,
because we have our university, and Gambia, you know how tiny we are. So when I say our university, you know what I mean. So we have our university with graduates, that get out with their bachelors, and there's not enough jobs that match whatever they think they should be doing as far as, oh, I'm a bachelor's degree holder, right? We have a
yeah,
bunch of
yeah.
graduates
I
yearly
see what you're
that
saying.
yeah, we have a bunch of students, graduates that graduate because they did law, going towards being
Yeah,
lawyers and becoming lawyers, and they graduate, and we don't have a kind of like a justice system or judiciary where you have enough law
where they need
firms
lawyers.
law
Yeah,
firms and courthouses. Even the
yeah,
system, even the system of the justice system is one that is highly still localized, where every issue, every litigation starts at home, family head, or going to an
yeah,
elder within the community to settle
yeah.
disputes. So
Hmm,
all
hmm, yeah.
disputes are settled locally. They never hit the court because of the culture. Hey, I'm not going to sue my neighbor, even not even neighbors. I'm not gonna sue, my friend's friend. Like everything is settled. Oh no, just okay, just let it go. Just let it go. Ngiri yala, for
Yeah,
God's
yeah,
sake,
yeah,
all
yeah,
that
yeah,
stuff.
yeah, yeah,
So so
yeah.
all like here in the US, you step out here, your neighbor just sprays water on you and you hold your eye. You're like, that water has something in it that affected my eye. You sue your
Yeah,
next door neighbor. When
yeah.
you become
And you
enemies,
need
you
a
move
lawyer.
away. You need a
Yeah,
lawyer, right? On ads everywhere. When somebody hits your car, you hit a car, you hit a tree, you hit a cow, you hit like, there's so many things to litigate. And a place like Gambia, people graduating in law, not knowing what to do. Then you look at that kid. Hey, look at me, I'm this mini lawyer. No
yeah,
job,
yeah.
nothing, nothing,
No
no,
job. Yeah,
nothing I can use this
yeah.
degree for, and and
Mm-hmm.
and feeling like I'm this lawyer that now cannot do that hustle job over there. I would rather figure out a way to
Yeah.
leave this country,
Eh,
and
to
then
leave this
you
country and
see
use my
bach-
degree. Yeah,
bachelor's degree holders on that back way trying to leave.
yeah,
So
yeah.
that's the level of issues we have.
Yeah, and then again, I think somehow our authorities have that responsibility,
Thank you
because
for mentioning that.
they are not communicating enough.
Hmm.
The statistics are not right. So young people are making choices that are not calculated. Okay, they're making choices that are not well thought, because they don't have any measurement tools
Hmm.
to identify what to do, what degree to have, to identify the outcomes of their education, where which path should they take. The information is not there.
Mm-hmm.
That's also part of what I was saying, that
Mm-hmm.
our authorities are not doing well in informing our youth about what's needed, what the country needs from them. You know, this was done back in the days. It was done. But it's not done anymore. And like I was saying again, the our youth is making decisions, you know, uh, uh, with no information. They don't even know, when they try to go to Europe. Uh, they don't know that over there they have unemployment issues.
Yes,
They also have unemployment issues over there.
big ones.
Um, so it's really, our authorities, they have a lot of work to do.
Yes,
Um, Now,
yes.
hopefully
They have a lot
our
of
young
blame to take.
brother, in Burkina
Our
is,
younger
is going to
brother
start
in Burkina,
something.
he'll start a president where we can learn something from something that he's doing coming from that youthful mind.
Yeah, yeah.
Talk about youthful mind. You're still a young guy that also has a lot to give. Talk about you talking about politics. As we close, I'm going to give you a job right now. Something that I thought about right when you were talking about this. And the
Yeah.
job is, right? Stem to roots. Let's pretend. Let's pretend. Let's speak it into existence. It's big time, right? It's
Uh-huh.
broadcasting in Africa right now. The school
Yeah.
year just started, and for some, and some they're about to start. So there's a lot that are, last year of high school, or going in Gambia, going to 12th grade, which is high school, before they go to college, and
Mhm.
get formed. And you're sitting here right now. You have a minute and a half to talk about to talk to the rest of Africa's youth. I'm talking about just one class, the ones that are
Mhm.
about to graduate high school.
Yeah.
In this theme of what Africa has and how we can tap into what Africa has and actually prosper, we don't need to be out there, go out there to get it. What will you tell them now that they are listening? Because STEM to Roots is big time. Now that the entire continent is listening, what are you going to tell them, Presido? What are you going to tell them? You have a couple of minutes.
Well, first, I think even before they get to 12th grade, we
Mm-hmm.
need to tell them about success stories. Okay, we need to tell them
Mm.
about
Success
African
stories.
success stories, but not only Africans. We can tell them
Mm-hmm.
about European or Americans' success stories. Because one thing that is similar in success stories is a perseverance. Because what you when you get into entrepreneurship, any sort of entrepreneurship, you meet failures, right? So
Yes, of
you
course.
fail a lot.
Learn from a lot of
um,
failures. Yep.
yeah, so we need to tell them about those things. Just educate them about the fact that this word is just a word of opportunities, that they can
Mm.
succeed anywhere they are, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
if they believe that going abroad is what's good for them, they go the legal way, they go
Mm-hmm.
abroad, and they can
Mm-hmm.
succeed over there. But
Mm-hmm.
one thing is for sure, is that Africa needs its children, right? So it's
Mm.
not a neighbor is not going to come and sweep your yard, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you
Mm-hmm.
need to sweep it yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Also, what has happened, has already happened. Our brother, our young brother from Burkina was asking questions. Those are rightful questions, but we need to
Yes.
move ahead. You know,
Mm. At this
there's a
point.
saying. There's a saying in my village that says, "When you have sold your axe, right?
Mm-hmm.
um, and you hear that in the forest,
Mm-hmm.
you hear the tree cutting noise. Okay,
Uh-huh.
you shouldn't mind that noise anymore. You sold your axe, right? That's none of your business anymore, right?
The axe is gone.
So your axe is you sold it, right? So just get to some other business, or maybe get yourself another axe. I don't know, but what I'm saying is that the when our young brother gets the answers to his questions, right? I don't think it's gonna be that useful to move ahead. It's good to know the answer,
Mm-hmm.
right? But it's not really gonna help
What are you
in
going to
moving
do with it
forward.
to benefit the masses?
Yeah,
Yeah. Mm.
exactly. So
Mm.
our young people, I would tell them that the word is a word of opportunities,
Yes.
but Africa has a lot to offer. So
Yes.
they should just educate themselves. They should just learn about case studies, success stories.
Mm-hmm.
In Africa, we have a lot of success stories. Locally, in every country, you
Mm-hmm.
have success stories.
Yes.
Um, and then they would make an informed decision,
Mm-hmm.
which
Mm-hmm.
education path to take.
Mm-hmm.
Should I stay or leave?
Mm-hmm.
If I leave, should I stay there or come back? You know,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
uh, the only thing that can help you make those decisions is education. So yeah, I guess that's what I would tell them.
My bro, thank you for that, because what you did there, if I captured it well, and this is key, and I like how you put that, is finding our youth, our young people, local heroes, finding them, success stories they can relate to, right? Making sure all everything they deem success is not about the story of that one person or the few people that they know that just had to leave, you know and they were outside sending things in and building at home, and that's what is labeled success. They should be exposed, to people that never left and are successful. Teach them those stories. They should be exposed to people that left, studied, and came back, like my boy, doing it big time locally. They should be exposed to stories like that, so that, like you said, they can have an informed kind of like decision making will come from an informed place where, hey, I know all of this, and this is what I've decided is the path. Because if all they're seeing is that every successful person that I know had to leave Africa, then we're doomed. What is continuing to happen, where
No,
everybody is
no.
trying to leave by all means necessary,
Mhm.
is it should not be the case. By all means necessary should not be the case. Once somebody has the opportunity, why not? Because we're a global village. But for the one that doesn't have the opportunity or doesn't have it yet, should not do it by all means necessary.
Yeah, yeah,
But Bo, thank
definitely.
you
I
very
agree
much.
with you.
You came back, you did this with me,
Yeah,
and
man. Thank you for having me, man.
you are the ambassador of Africa here at StemToRoots. Thank you for being that kind of leader.
All right,
Thank you for
thank you.
doing this with me.
And I appreciate it, man. I appreciate STEM to Roots. We are learning a lot.
Yes.
It's so great having so many different experiences, so many
Yes.
different opinions from different people
Mhm.
who are just sharing, and it's really enriching, and I appreciate you for your initiative. It's great, man. So you
And
keep on
that's
going, man.
and that's all I'm trying to get at.
Yeah,
Yes,
man.
sir.
Yeah, man, for
Yes.
sure.